Hello and welcome to this next part of the course on how to use events. In this session, we'll cover how to call an event using a button. The topic discussed in a prior lecture focused on the view and text elements. The button was not introduced. Okay, so let's first take a look at how to create a button. Every program depends on the view, text, and button elements. Without these three characteristics, a React Native app is worthless. So let's make a button now. Importing the button from React Native into the app.js file is the first step in creating the button. Use the button tag after importing the button. Keep in mind that the button's first letter needs to be capitalized to prevent errors. Both button tags and the slash character, i.e. button, between, like the forward arrow and the backward arrow, so button, can be used to construct buttons. So it's just, this tag that you need. So the primary skill you need to develop for yourself is to become a successful programmer. If you want to become a successful programmer, then what you need is error reading. You need to identify errors. You can tell your talents are not fully polished if you are not strong at error reading and deciphering. Okay, so you'll now notice the error. The title prop of button must be a string in the program. So it implies that you must include a string in a button if you want to construct one. You cannot leave the button empty. When you go to the button tag and give it the title, press here and save the project. The button will now be created in the browser. And so as you can see, the button's default color is blue, but you can change it to any other color if necessary. To use a different color, simply specify it in the button tag. Okay, so for the time being, if you specify red in the button tag and save the file, the button will be created in the program with the color red. Let's now declare the event. So in order to check the functionality, the event needs a name. To learn the event, follow the steps that require for a button to be clicked before a specific action is carried out. So let's now begin with fundamental functions. Alright, now let's use the arrow function, declare a variable const in the app.js file, and use console.warn brackets my first app in the arrow function. The reason we are using warn is now under dispute. You should use the warn element if you wish to check anything in the notification section. Additionally, the console's operation in the application will be covered. Now call the variable a and use the keyword onPress in the button tag. As soon as you save the file, you will be able to use the console's my first app name. Go to the app.js file if you want to add any value by default, or if you want to access the console dynamically. Alright, so use the parameter value in a const variable. Use the parameter when calling the console as well. Now, if you save the code, you will notice that the application's console is undefined, since the value for the onPress keyword has not been provided. Give the onPress keyword a value of 450 for the time being. Save the file and you should see 450 printed in the console. One thing is now clear, the console functions whether or not the button is pressed. So call the function appropriately to fix this problem. Use the brackets and the arrow function in the onPress keyword to properly call the function. Now that the keyword is used, saving the file will have no effect because nothing will appear in the application. When you press the button, the console will activate and 450 will appear in a pop-up window. This is how events are used. So events will also be used to navigate between pages. This was the fundamental lecture on events and how to use press events in React Native. If you want to produce data dynamically, it's not really covered in this presentation. So you need to understand some events in order to produce some data dynamically. And this lecture was basically about the fundamental events. Alright, so let's move on to the next lecture.